Today we are doing lesson 6. It is still over the nervous system, but today we're going to talk a little bit more about the brain. So let's look at what we have already learned. Again, we have learned that the body systems are interconnected. How is the nervous system interconnected to the other human body systems? Remember that the nervous system tells all other systems what to do. So without the nervous system, the rest of our systems wouldn't be able to function. What can you recall about the skeletal and muscular systems? What does the phrase command center mean in reference to the nervous system? Think about a command center. The command center is the part of the body that tells everything else what to do. It's like the boss of the body. And then, what is the difference in voluntary and involuntary muscles? Also, remember, cells are the building blocks of life. Cells form tissue, and tissue forms our organs. Today's purpose for listening, we're still listening carefully to learn more about the nervous system and the different parts of the brain. We're going to listen for why the brain's function is the command center in the central nervous system. Hi, I've got lots of fascinating facts to share with you today, so I'm hoping that my brain is in good working order. There's a lot to remember. Raise your hand if you have a brain. Whew. I'm glad all hands went up. Yes, of course you have a brain. All vertebrates have brains. Who remembers what else all vertebrates have? That's right, they all have backbones. You know that you have a backbone. You've been testing out those wonderful flexible spines that support your bodies and protect your spinal cords. You've learned that your nervous system is a complex network with two essential organs, your spinal cord and your brain. Your spinal cord is connected to your brain by the brain stem, the central trunk of the brain. Your brain itself is very soft, but it is very well protected by your cranium or the brain case. This strong eggshell-shaped part of your skull is formed from 8 interlocking bones wedged together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. Inside your skull, your brain floats in a clear liquid that cushions it and keeps it from banging against your skull. Your brain is covered in grooves and folds resembling a huge walnut. It's about the size of a cantaloupe or a grapefruit. This jelly-like pinkish-gray blob has blood vessels running all through its wrinkled mass. They carry oxygen, water, and other important nutrients to the brain. Blood vessels carrying or circulating oxygen, water, and other important nutrients to the brain and throughout the body are part of the circulatory system. So the nervous system and the circulatory system are also interconnected. The brain, when fully grown, weighs about 3 pounds. That may seem pretty small and light for such a big body, but humans have larger brains than animals when compared with their body size. So even though the brains of elephants and whales are actually larger than human brains, their brains are smaller than ours compared to the enormous size of their body. There are 3 main sections of the brain. There's the brain stem, the cerebrum, and the cerebellum. Each part of the brain has an important function. So let's look real quick. We have the cerebrum, which is up here at the top in the front. At the back, you have the cerebellum, and then you have the brain stem here at the bottom. And each of those have their own function. Your brain stem is about as thick as your thumb, and it is approximately 3 inches long. It helps to relay messages between your brain and the spinal cord. The bottom third of your brain stem, the part that blends into the top of your spinal cord, is called the medulla. The medulla is responsible for many of your body's involuntary or automatic muscle movements. The medulla makes sure that your lungs are receiving oxygen by controlling your breathing and making sure that your heart is beating. The medulla helps you to swallow and break down the food in your digestive system. The medulla controls your coughs and sneezes and hiccups, as well as your sleeping and dreaming. It also controls the movement of your head and neck. The cerebrum is the largest part of your brain, filling the whole upper part of your skull. Language, memory, thought, sensations, and decision-making are housed in your cerebrum. Your cerebrum is the thinking brain, and the part of the cerebrum that does the most of the thinking is the cerebral cortex. The cortex is the wrinkled outer surface of the cerebrum. The more it is used, the thicker it becomes. In other words, people who use their brains to think a lot have thicker cortexes. Do you think your cortex is getting any thicker? It is. You are learning a lot each day. Let's look more closely at the cerebrum. The cerebrum is divided into two halves or hemispheres. The left half, and then you've got the right half. On our picture, the left is in red and the right is in green. The two hemispheres of the brain, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, are linked to one another by thick nerve fibers. Interestingly, the nerves that connect your cerebrum to the rest of your body cross over the opposite side as they enter your brain. This means that each hemisphere largely controls the muscles on the opposite side of your brain. So the left side of your cerebrum controls things on the right side of your body, and the right side of your cerebrum controls things on the left side of your body. One hemisphere is usually more developed than another. If you use your right side of your body more, that is, if you kick with your right foot or hold your pencil with your right hand, then your left side of your brain is more dominant or in more control. It is the left hemisphere that is mostly associated with language, math, and reading. If, however, you use the left side of your body more, that is, you kick with your left foot, you hold your pencil in your left hand, then the right hemisphere of your brain is more dominant and more in control. The right hemisphere is mostly associated with imagination, music, and shapes. The third part of your brain, in addition to the brain stem, so brain stem's right down here, is called the cerebellum. So this little bottom region is called the cerebellum, meaning little brain. Tucked under your cerebrum in the back of your brain, your cerebellum resembles your cerebrum with two hemispheres of its own. Your cerebellum is the control center for balance and coordination. It is constantly adjusting the way your body moves. As you practice any physical activity, such as dancing, your cerebellum receives messages about your body's actions and positions. It sends commands back to your muscles, adjusting your movements. As your cerebellum gradually becomes more accurate In its corrections, you begin to notice improvements in your dancing or whatever activity you're trying to perfect. For example, if you have learned to ride a bike, chances are you didn't master it all at once. It took practice. Your cerebellum was in charge of your balance and coordination, making small adjustments with each improvement until you could pedal quickly and furiously on your own without even thinking about it. Let's try an experiment to demonstrate what the cerebellum does. Close your eyes and reach your arms out to your side so that your body makes the shape of a T. Slowly bring your arms toward each other, touching the fingertips near your nose. You may open your eyes now. Was that easy for you? Your cerebellum coordinated your movements for you. If you damaged your cerebellum, you would not be able to do this simple exercise. No matter how hard you tried, your hands would just jerk around without any control. Now let's put the parts of your brain together. Look at this picture of the brain. See if you can identify the three parts. The brain stem, down here at the bottom, the cerebrum, most all of this here that you see, and the cerebellum, right here in the back. I'm going to ask you 3 riddles to test your knowledge and see how well your brain is working. Are you ready? I am the largest part of the brain. Divided into 2 hemispheres, I am sometimes called the thinking brain. What am I? I hope you said the cerebrum. Next riddle. I am only 3 inches long, but without me, the spinal cord would not be connected to the brain. One of my parts is called the medulla. What am I? I am the brainstem. And last, I look a lot like the cerebrum, with 2 hemispheres of my own, but I am much smaller. Without me, you would not be able to balance on one leg. What am I? I am the cerebellum. Great job, everyone! Your brain is not very big, and yet it is more powerful than the strongest computer ever created. All other systems of the body are dependent upon this complex 3-pound organ that lives inside your skull. Your brain is the center of your memory, thoughts, and feelings. Your brain is in command of your whole body. When your brain stops working, the rest of your body will stop working as well. Well, I think I remembered everything I wanted to tell you today. Next time, we'll look inside your skull some more to see what else is tucked away within those bones, in addition to the brain. We will see you then. So let's look at today's word work. In the read aloud, you heard that the cerebrum is divided into 2 halves or hemispheres. We have heard the word hemispheres before. Hemispheres means halves of a sphere or sphere-like object, such as the halves of Earth or the halves of cerebrum. Name a place in the world and let's see in which of the hemispheres it would be located. What part of speech is the word hemisphere? A hemisphere, remember it says it is the halves. So can I touch the halves of something or halves of a sphere? Remember, if it's something that I can touch, it is a what? I hope you said that it is a noun. If you did, that is correct. That is all for today. We will see you when you come back for lesson 7.